Hey man, sorry about that. I got cut off because my 30 minutes had run out. Apparently the first video, this will be the first stat video that I have like a two-parter. Sorry about that. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about three more points before I sign off. Episode 3, A Long Road Ahead, first dropped on PS3, PlayStation 3, August 28th, 2012. Alright? Episode 4 dropped October 10th, 2012. Okay? And then the final episode dropped November 20th, 2012. So I was kind of wrong in the gaps between episodes, but there's about a good month and a half to 2 months wait between episodes. So imagine that. Imagine the final screen that you saw in this episode around a quarter before to be continued popped up. Imagine having to wait a month and a half to find out what happened next instead of just booting up the game and going to episode 5 to play it. Like, originally it was coming soon. Like, that was like, what the episodes had when they were being released. It wasn't play or continue, it was coming soon. You couldn't even play them. So that's how fucking intense it was to wait for those episodes as they dropped. But anyway, I just want to give you some insight as to how long of a nightmare it was. And imagine being in school during that time, having to worry about tests and projects and papers and all that crap, and all the while wondering about what the fuck your favorite group, your favorite video game group was up to, and what the hell is going on with them. That's all I could think about for like, I swear, bro, for like the first part of my sophomore year. This game consumed my thoughts and my mind for so long. It was just, it's all I thought about. I want to know what happened. I want to know, oh man. But anyway, those were all the stats that I wanted to talk to you about. But I did actually look up the stats of who came with you at the end. For some reason, they don't have the screen for what shows the numbers, but I got them here, right here. I believe you had the most. You and 18%. That's 18% of players brought Kenny. It was just you. It was just Lee and Kenny. So I'm curious to see how that turns out because it's normally not just me and Kenny. It's some other people. So whereas you and 18% of players bought Kenny, and that's because you had supported him throughout a lot of stuff, and he automatically went with you. I was like expecting you to like be by yourself, honestly, man. Because as soon as you hit the bite, I was like, oh, there's no way you're gonna go by yourself. And ironically enough, only 6%. I mean six, S-I-X, 6% of players went alone. So I thought you were going to be in the minority, the heavily minority, But I was wrong. But for me, I had 13%. I brought Krista, Omid, and Kenny. So whereas you and I had the same Kenny outcome, I revealed my bite because that's what me and 82% of players just decided to do, and that's what caused Krista and Omid to come with me to the morgue. And then everything else was if Ben was alive at that point, because I mean, believe it or not, there is a way to save Ben. Like, he could be alive at this point, but thankfully he's not for either of us, and I hope to fuck he never is. I hope to fuck that if you ever replay this game, that you never ever save Ben. Like, 'cause he doesn't worry, he doesn't deserve it. But yeah, so 18% minus 13%. That was the difference. So you do the math. A 5% difference, which and that right there shows how little of a difference that you have made throughout the time you have played the game. yeah, maybe you may have made a lot of different choices, but overall, there's like a 5%, 10% difference so far, anyways. But that'll all culminate in the final episode. No time left, which, bro, you need to be fucking baked the fuck out because you're gonna. I think this episode is going to break you because it sure as fuck broke me. And being 16 or 17, like, I remember having my parents coming into my room and asking me, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you crying? Why are you crying?" It was that bad, bro. I was a very loud crier, and it was just very, very bad. So you're gonna want to be either drunk, high, or whatever, but don't be sober, or don't be alone when you play it. Anyway, real quick before I sign off here, this episode, you're gonna want to play this episode a certain way, okay? I would highly recommend don't play it right after episode 5 because it takes about an hour and a half, 2 at the most to complete. After you finish episode 5, I will tell you how to play it without spoiling anything. Because right now what it does is that you'll notice the title says 400 days. What this episode does is that it focuses on 5 different characters and their story arcs. But it happens during specific days during the apocalypse, from day 2 to day 400. And if you want to fully understand what happens, you have to play the characters in a certain order, which I have the order, and I will gladly tell you the order, but after you finish episode 5, because right when you boot up this episode, it's gonna thrust you right into it, and you'll have no idea who to pick. But if you want to fully understand what's going on in this episode, you have to play the characters in a certain order. Don't worry, nothing else will be spoiled for you in any other way. But take my advice, don't play this episode right after episode 5 because it'll take a while. I would say either do this episode by itself and do season 2 afterward, or like part of season 2, or just have this be like a standalone episode. Alright? Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and edit these down to show them to you, but this is pretty much what it is. It's that's what it was, pretty much. Alright, so that was episode 4, stats, and why I did what I want, why I did what I did, and I hope you enjoyed them. And I'll do one for 5, and I'll definitely do one for 400 days. But like I said, this episode, it kind of... Alright, I'll give you a bit more. This kind of sets up a particular element in season 2. That's all I'm going to say. An element. That's all I'm saying. That's all this episode does. Alright? Alright. You have a good night, Devon, and I will talk to you later. I'm out. Peace!